What's going on, everyone? I hope you're all having an extraordinary day. I'm doing excellent myself. Listen, I am extremely excited to be a part of this year's 2021 Black CEO Iconic Digital Summit. My name is Ivan Thomas. I'm a serial entrepreneur, celebrity publicist, author, and motivational speaker based in Atlanta, Georgia. And today I'm going to be talking to you all about how to defy gravity in your life and in your business. Okay, many people are beginning to know me as Mr. Defy Gravity because my focus and my platforms are all geared towards helping people to truly elevate by activating their gifts and their purpose so that they can launch into their ultimate level of personal and professional greatness. So I actually own a couple of businesses, but for the sake of this conversation, we're going to focus on the work that I do through my company, Intrigue Media Group, which is a strategic communications company that specializes in PR and brand and reputation management for clients in the arts, culture, lifestyle, and entertainment industries. All right. So over the course of my 15 years in the PR industry, I've had the honor and the privilege of working with many of the nation's biggest figures, as well as some of the most successful brands. I've worked with people like Reverend Jesse Jackson, rapper slash actor Waka Flocka Flame, NBA player Michael Beasley. I've worked with former NBA player and coach Bill Cartwright, Grammy-nominated multi-platinum producer KO, celebrity credit guru James Hunt. The list goes on. I've represented companies like Nielsen, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and Xerox, and various entrepreneurs across healthcare, education, social justice, business, you name it. All right, so I know a little bit about what it takes to build a successful company and to build a powerful, potent brand that really resonates with your target audience. I'm also an entrepreneur myself who's been able to build successful companies and to grow each and every year. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about myself too much, but we get kind of tired of these entrepreneurs and these people on social media who just want to showcase, their success and everything that they've done, but they don't really want to, tell you about the growing pains and the challenges, the fears and the doubts that they faced, right? So I'm going to start off with that a little bit and talk about my journey in entrepreneurship. So I graduated from Howard University and, really that was the point where I really decided that I wanted to be great. I had embraced being, a black scholar, having pride in who I am as a black man and really wanting to contribute something extraordinary to society. So that was kind of the beginning. But, growing up, I was always smart. I would be in the top 90th percentile in science and reading and writing and things of that nature. Wasn't too great at math. I spoke Spanish and, I was always very talented, but a recurring theme in my life was that, when we would have the parent-teacher conferences and things of that nature, the teachers would tell my parents, Ivan Thomas is so smart, he has so much potential, he could do this, or if he only did this, this could happen. And, as I became an adult and I look back on my life, I saw so many areas of untapped potential, and I actually started to despise that word potential because it meant that I could accomplish something, I could do something great, but I didn't do it for whatever reason, okay? So probably around the age of 24, I really set out on this journey to not have potential, but to actually do. So when I graduated from college at Howard University, I actually graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism, but my dad, who was a longtime journalist, had established his own PR company. Based out of Chicago. And I started, instead of going to a big firm, I had various different internships, but I went to work with my dad instead. And I actually worked with my dad for about six and a half years. And I learned a lot of things throughout that process, about, how to grow a business, how to manage a team, of course, the aspects of PR. We worked on some great clients, but about halfway through, I started to get discouraged because, lots of times our parents have these grandiose visions for what their children are going to do with their lives without even consulting them, right? As parents, we typically have this idea, my kid's going to do this. This is where my kid's going to go. This is how my kid's going to be successful. And it got to a point as a young man where, I felt like I was pigeonholing myself and I wasn't really tapping into my purpose and really just doing what I wanted to do. So after the 6.5 years, man, I actually decided to start my own PR agency, Intrigue Media Group, which was birthed in 2014. And the reason that I started my own company is because I recognized that I didn't want anyone dictating my trajectory in life. I didn't want anyone telling me what I was worth. I didn't want anyone telling me what I was capable of doing, because nobody knew what I was capable of doing except me and God. I knew the work that I was willing to put into it. I knew how much I desired to be successful. And I knew that nobody had higher expectations for my life than me. So if somebody said I was worth $75,000, I wanted to prove that I was worth $1 million or $10 million or $25 million. I didn't want to place any cap on my potential. So during my journey into entrepreneurship, I started venturing out and reading a lot of books, right? So I read books like Succeeding Against the Odds by John H. Johnson, who was the founder of Ebony Magazine, Ebony and Jet. I read 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders by Stephen R. Covey. I read Act Like a Success by Steve Harvey and He Motions by T.D. Jakes. I just started delving into these books. I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You know, all of these books just completely changed my life. And the recurring theme in those books was that you don't need permission to be great. Okay, greatness is inside of you. You just have to activate it, and it's all about your mindset. Okay, so what I learned is that you can be as talented as you want to be in life, but if you don't have the right mindset and you don't apply the appropriate habits, rituals, and routines to be truly successful, you will never reach your maximum potential, right? So in addition to reading those books, I was watching countless motivational videos from everyone from, The Rock to Diddy to Jay-Z to Jeff Bezos, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, you name it. I was watching all of these motivational videos, constantly working on my mindset, constantly, working on developing what we refer to as the law of attraction and a success consciousness, where we're focused on visualizing the things that we want in our lives and figuring out how to make them materialize in the physical form. Okay? The unique thing about human beings is that we are the only species on this planet that can literally change our lives by changing the way we think. So my message for you entrepreneurs today is you have to change your mindset. If you're not where you want to be currently in life, you have the capacity and the ability to do it by simply making the decision. Okay? But it starts with blaming yourself, and it starts with you being honest with yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Too often as entrepreneurs, we want to make excuses for why we aren't where we want to be in life, why our businesses aren't that successful. But if you're not putting in the work that you need to in order to be successful. If you're sleeping when you need to be awake. If you're not truly an expert to where you can present yourself as at the top of your field or in your area of expertise. Okay? If you don't have the relationships and the connections to help you get through doors that have previously been closed off to you. If you don't truly have the habits of a successful person. So the reality is we all want to be successful. We all want to be free. We all want to have options. That's why we go into entrepreneurship. But in order to truly do that, you have to develop the mindset, right? So now we're going to get into some other things. Okay, I told you a little bit about my journey. It was very difficult. PR is not something, entrepreneurship is not something that you can just jump into haphazardly. You know what I'm saying? You have to really have an idea. You have to know why you're going into business, okay? You have to know why what you have to present to the world is important, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about the PR element of business, all right? And what I want to talk to you about is how to establish a brand identity. So for me, I knew that I wanted to leave a huge legacy that would live on after I was gone. And when we think about people who are iconic, we think of the people like Cicely Tyson, who just passed, who was a trailblazer for not only women, but black women in Hollywood. We think about Kobe Bryant, who, was a legendary basketball player, but was able to transcend the sport of basketball into business and coined the term Mamba mindset that many of us apply not only to sports, but how we approach business and our daily lives. We think about people like Michael Jackson. We think about people like Steve Jobs and what he did with Apple, really just changing the way we operate in our daily lives. That's what it takes to be iconic. But what you notice about these individuals is not only are they extremely smart, gifted, and talented, but they also have been able to create brands, create images that really resonate and connect with people, that connect with their target audience, that connect with their customer base. What I learned very early on in business, is that people don't necessarily care what you know. They don't even care what you have. People don't want to see you just flaunting your wealth and your success around. They care about how you make them feel. So to be a very successful entrepreneur, you have to create clear and concise messages that speak the language of your consumer base. Okay? So now that we're talking about consumer bases, let's figure out who is your consumer base. One of the biggest challenges that a lot of entrepreneurs face is establishing what we refer to as a brand identity. Okay? What is your brand identity? Your brand identity is how you present yourself to the world. You know, who you are, what you want to be known or remembered by. Or as Jeff Bezos said, your brand identity is what people say about you when you leave the room. So ask yourself, what do people say about you when you leave the room? That's a very big question. Okay, so a lot of people are confused about their brand identity, but you have to know, what you want people to know about your business, how you want them to feel about your business, what's the lasting impact that you want them to have. All right, and once you figure out your brand identity, then you have to recognize who your target audience is. So we all want to be liked. We all want everyone to like us, but the reality is that not everyone is your audience. What I also had to learn in business is that, you can't be all things to everyone. So entrepreneurs try to focus on getting business any and everywhere, and lots of times they're not patient. But they have to hone in on who their target audience is. Okay? And newsflash for you people, your friends, your family, your colleagues, your peers are not your target audience. A lot of entrepreneurs, even myself in the very beginning, would get discouraged when I wasn't getting the support from friends and family and people close to me who knew me, who saw the hard work that I was putting in. But the reality is that your peers are not going to pay your bills. So stop trying to present your companies and your products and services to friends and family. They're not your target audience. Strangers have everything that you want. They have the money, they have the recognition that you're looking for. Okay, so you must know who your customers are. And I had to learn that. As a business owner, I struggled in the beginning because, like all business owners, when you first start your company, your focus is really just making money, right? So I'm trying to get money any way that I can in order to pay the bills. But what I did many cases in the beginning was I compromised the integrity of my brand by working with clients who weren't necessarily going to take my brand forward. They actually watered down my brand. And that actually hindered me. Not only was I not making the money that I needed to be making, because I was just working with anybody who said they needed PR, but I also wasn't staying true to what my company was about, which was arts, culture, lifestyle, and entertainment. So I learned that, one, my company had to be people who were successful, people who established, had an established brand, knew where they were going, but they just didn't know how to effectively get the message out. They didn't know how to get media coverage. They didn't know how to be positioned on big platforms with some of the biggest leaders on some of the biggest stages. Those are the things that I helped them to be able to do, right? So I had to learn that. I had to learn who my customer base was so that I didn't waste time, I didn't compromise my brand, and so that I can grow the way that I needed to grow. So when we talk about having a brand identity and knowing who our target audience is, I want to share an example of that with you. Let's look at Toyota Prius, right? Toyota Prius is a funny looking eco-friendly car, but the reason that they are successful is because they know exactly who their customer base is. Their customer base is men and women between the ages of 30 and 50 who are educated, likely to be married and have children, and these are the people who like to be on the cutting edge of technology. They are highly educated. They are individuals who care about the environment. They care about things like pollution and global warming. Or they care about having a car that it has great fuel economy and is cost effective, right? So that's who Toyota Prius markets their cars to. They don't market to anybody else. They don't market to the 16-year-old. They don't market to the wealthy rich person, because that's not their target audience. They want people who want practicality, who want to get somewhere in a convenient way and in a cost-effective way. And most of these people are married and they have children. That's their target audience. That's who they focus on. Okay? They don't target their cars to people who would be likely to buy Lamborghinis, right? Lamborghini is a car for a specific demographic. All right, these are luxury cars that are supercars that cost tons of money, and they are marketed specifically towards the super rich. Okay? Matter of fact, Lamborghini doesn't even have commercials because they know that only the top 1% of the population can actually afford their cars. So they don't even waste millions of dollars promoting and creating commercials to capture the attention of the other 99% of the population. But the reality is, even though you don't see Lamborghini commercials, you know exactly what Lamborghini is, what it's all about, and you know the types of people that you expect to see driving a Lamborghini. All right? So that's what brand identity is all about. Okay? Next, it's all about being authentic. All right? Lots of business owners don't know how to be authentic, and it's because we want to appear that we're super successful because we believe that that's what's going to make people want to work with us, which is true. All right? But professionalism is extremely important. Having expertise in knowing what you're doing to where a customer is confident that you can get the job done. Those are just as much, if not more important than the image that a lot of people try to project on social media. Most people are fake. And I hate to say it, but most entrepreneurs are fake. They're constantly posting and promoting things that they haven't done or that they don't have in order to attract a certain clientele and in order to impress people. And that's not the way to go about it. Many people don't recognize that, even showing your journey is extremely important. Maybe showing some of the growing pains, showing, how despite the challenges, you're still able to pull your business together. Sharing your story about how, you've continued to grow or things that you've learned. And when people see that, they can really resonate with that because it's real. They can relate to challenge. They can relate to struggle. They can relate to everything not being perfect. Too often, because we're in this social media age, everyone wants to promote how great they are and what they've accomplished and what they have, but they rarely show you how they got there. Okay, but when you tell your story, your customers are able to relate to your story, and that helps them to buy in. We have to learn as business owners to not only speak our language, but to speak the language of the consumers. We have to relate to them and send powerful messages that let them know what your personality is all about, what your core mission, what your core values are, and what you care about. And by sharing those stories, by telling a story while also promoting your business, that's one of the ways that you can be successful. And that's one of the ways that you can grow in an authentic and in an organic way that's going to appeal to your audience. Okay. Now, one person that I love who has a great brand, I'm going to give you an example, is The Rock. Okay. So anybody who knows about The Rock knows that his father was the first black wrestler, professional wrestler. Okay, and the other side of his family was Samoan. So, he came from a black father and a Samoan mother, who they were part of a warrior family. But anyway, his father was a professional wrestler, and as The Rock was growing up, he was very big. When he had the looks, he had the personality, and he actually played football. So he went on to play at the University of Miami for the Miami Hurricanes, but the reality was he wasn't that good. All right, so he wasn't going to the pros. He was big, he was strong, but he didn't have the talent that was going to translate into professional football. All right, so as he was sitting there pondering on what he was going to do, his heart was telling him to go into wrestling. But his father told him, please don't go into wrestling. You're gonna put such a heavy toll on your body, and there's no money in wrestling. Please don't go into wrestling. He begged his father to go into wrestling, and finally he told his dad, you know what? I'm going to follow my heart and I'm going to do it. Okay, now flash forward, and we all know who Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, is. One of the most successful wrestlers ever in history. And not only that, because of his success in wrestling, he is now one of the biggest, he actually is the biggest, most successful movie star in the world right now. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. All right. But what I love about The Rock is not only that we know he's successful, we know where he failed. He talks about how Warren Sapp, who is now a Hall of Fame football player, took his position at the University of Miami. He talks about that. He talks about, his fears, and feeling inadequate and not knowing where his life was going to go. But now that he's successful, he shows the journey. Okay, he takes you behind the scenes on the movie set to see the work. He lets you know when he's invested 18 hours and he's tired. You see him working out in the gym consistently. He shows the work that is necessary to succeed at the highest level and why he is successful as he is. Okay, and he's very engaging with his audience on social media and on all his platforms. He brings you into the life of his family with his wife and his daughter. He shows you his post-workout meals. He shows you his cheat days where he has stacks of pancakes and chocolate and, his Terramana tequila sitting on the side. He shows you every aspect, the good and the bad of his life. But he shows you how it all comes together to make him who he is now. And lots of times what we don't recognize is our testimony is one of the biggest selling points of our success. Okay? So that's why it's so important to be authentic. Share your story. Don't be afraid to show some of the growing pains, but also show the hard work that you're putting in. And let people go on this journey with you. And when they go on the journey with you, they feel like they know you. They feel like they can connect with you. And that's the best, most organic way to connect with your target audience. Okay? So now that we've gotten that out the way, I want to talk to you about trusting your process. Okay, we live in what I refer to as the microwave society. Okay, because of technology, because of the advent of social media and where everything is going, we have to have everything at our fingertips right away. We don't like to be patient. Okay, but the reality is to grow a successful business, it's not going to happen right away. It might not happen right away. And quite frankly, you don't want it to happen right away because the success that you get too quickly, you're not going to be ready for. Okay, and it's likely to explode all back in your face. So you want to trust your process. Stop people watching. Because everyone's showing their Bentleys and their Lamborghinis, they're wearing Louis Vuitton and Gucci on social media, walking through their mansions. The first thing that I want to point out to you is 90% of the time it's not theirs. Okay? So that's number one. Now, some people really do own that stuff, but a lot of people don't own what they're putting on there. They're doing it for their brand. Okay, so we'll take that for whatever it is. But you should not be comparing yourself to other people on social media, and you shouldn't be envious and jealous about the growth that they've experienced in their business. You need to embrace your own process. If you go methodically and you have strategy and you're staying true to yourself, you've identified your target audience, and you found a clear and concise way to articulate your message to where you can strike the core of your target audience, you can and you will be successful. Not only that, you have to have the mindset for success. You have to raise your expectations. You have to believe that your company can be a multi-million-dollar company. If you don't believe it, then it's never going to happen. So you have to raise your expectations. And when you raise your expectations, you take more risks. You go for opportunities that you typically wouldn't pursue. You make the call that you might have been afraid to make previously, or you send that email that you've been putting off for so long. But the reality is, even if you fail in that circumstance, it's not truly a failure. It's a lesson. And whatever doesn't work, you can go back, you can figure out why it didn't work, and then you can come back to the drawing board and make it happen again. As long as you're authentic, even when you make mistakes, you can rebound. Lots of people who aren't authentic and they're fake and their audience finds out that they're fake, they'll never trust you again, and you've sabotaged your business. Okay? So don't rush your process. I'm going to ask you a question. You all have seen Rolls Royce, right? We know that this is a beautiful luxury car. Do you know that it takes 6 months to create one Rolls Royce? It takes 6 months. So it takes years to create numerous Rolls Royces. because, it's a high luxury car that is handmade, handcrafted. It's customizable. Every little stitch in that car is made from a human hand. It's not in a factory just going on an assembly line. Okay? That is what greatness is all about. So you can be average or you can be great like a Rolls Royce by trusting the process, taking your time, and doing things the correct way. All right? So those are the things that I want to share with you all. And then the next step, of course, is how to market and promote your business. Now, I'd be remiss not to tell you how to do that with me being in the PR and brand and reputation management business. Okay? I work with a lot of clients from all different arenas. And many of them don't understand the difference between marketing and PR. So let me just break it down in layman's terms for you. Marketing is entirely designed to sell and promote a product or a service, a specific product or a service. Okay, it's pretty much saying, hey, this is who we are, this is what we're all about, this is our product and service, we're the best, you should buy it. Okay, that's what marketing is all about. Now, public relations is directly connected to marketing, but it's not the same thing. So lots of times people come to me when they want marketing, but they think they want PR, or vice versa. Now, PR, which stands for public relations, is about building relationships with your target audience, having important dialogue with your target audience. It's more the behind the scenes, crafting the messages and making sure that you can build relationships, you can get media coverage, you can establish strategic partnerships, and you can be positioned on platforms that will help you to engage your target audience successfully, right? So many of my clients, they want to get in Black Enterprise, or they want to get in Forbes, Essence Magazine, Associated Press, you name it. You have to have a story to tell, like I told you before. You have to have something to present that is newsworthy. So a lot of people come, they're social media influencers. They think that because they have 300,000 followers, that means that they've got it all together and that they should be, in the top publications. It doesn't work that way. You actually have to have a legitimate business that is successful, that is generating a profit. You have to be making a real impact in order to secure media coverage. Okay, but you definitely want media coverage, because what media coverage does for your business is it adds credibility. When someone sees your business in Black Enterprise or in Forbes or Inc. magazine or some of these top publications, people are automatically going to say, hey, if they're interested in covering you, then you must really be doing something. You must really be a business to keep our eyes on. Okay, so and every top company has it. They have a marketing division and they have a PR division or a communications division that is completely in charge of managing their reputation and making sure that they are able to engage the public, be it the media, be it the general public, be it potential stakeholders, potential partners. That is extremely important. But before you get there, you have to have something to sell. So in order for you to defy gravity, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, you cannot be boring, okay? You have to dig deep inside of yourself and figure out where that charisma can come from, where that energy can come from, and you have to be bold. You have to act in a massive way in order to really be successful. That's the only way that people are going to want to engage with you. That's the only way that you're going to really leave an impact, okay? Attention brings profit. Attention brings notoriety, okay? And those are the things that somebody like me can help you to get if you have the right product and service, if you have a story to tell, something that's newsworthy, and of course you got to know your stuff. You got to be an expert in your field. So I hope that I really helped you guys today. It's been an honor to speak with you. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can visit my website at www.intriguemediagroup.com. You can also visit me on social media at Ivan the Great, and I look forward to connecting with you all. Thank you so much, Black CEO, for having me. God bless.